And that is exactly what we have been waiting for. You're watching Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. Appreciate everybody for stopping by. The Knicks get a win over the Chicago Bulls yesterday. Maybe a little bit closer than we would have liked, but you finally got to see Jalen Brunson make Karl-Anthony Towns better and Karl-Anthony Towns make Jalen Brunson better. And when those two were on the court, it was the best version of the New York Knicks. We're going to break all that down on today's show, but this is why you subscribe to the channel. No matter where we are, no matter what we're doing, we're going to get you guys a video ASAP when we can. And we're actually in Indianapolis as a team here with Chat Sports covering the NFL Combine, but I had to get in front of a camera and grab a mic and talk about the 105-99 win over the Bulls. So make sure you're subscribed, and if you're appreciating the last two games the Knicks have played, hit that thumbs up icon. In a game that came down to the wire, that shouldn't have come down to the wire, I think there's some positive things to look back at. Think about it like this. The Knicks had an offensive rating of 118 in that ball game, meaning per 100 possessions, they would have scored 118 points. When Jalen Brunson was on the court, the Knicks had 126.9 offensive rating. When Karl-Anthony Towns was on the floor, they had 127.9 offensive rating. But when Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns were on the court, they had 148.7 offensive rating. That is huge for this basketball team. When Towns and Brunson have been on the floor together this year, they haven't produced the results that any of us would have expected. If Towns and Brunson were to have continued to play together at the level that they had this year, the Knicks were going to run into some serious problems in the playoffs, and they were not going to win the NBA Finals. But if Brunson and Towns, when they are on the court together, put on an offensive rating of 148.7, the NBA better watch out. Because if those two guys have finally found a groove, finally found a way to maximize each other, that is going to be a problem for the other 29 teams in the NBA. Karl-Anthony Towns was unbelievable in the win last night. It's now been 5 games in a row where he has scored more than 21 points per game. In the last 5 games, he's averaging 23.4 points. He's given you 10.8 rebounds. He's given you 3.6 offensive rebounds. But most importantly, he's getting back to being the efficient scorer that he made a name for himself in when it comes to the association. He's shooting 56.6% from the field, and he's shooting 47.8% from 3. That is a huge development. Karl-Anthony Towns, prior to those 5 games, was shooting like 34% from 3 on the season. And if the Knicks are going to win an NBA title, he has to be dominant on the offensive end. And that is exactly what he was in the game against the Chicago Bulls. Jalen Brunson, I thought, was solid as well. Maybe not his best game in the world, but at the end of the day, what I like was when he was on the court with Cat, they played damn good basketball, and it was the best duo that we've seen from these guys in quite some time. Like, it's no secret that they haven't gelled well. They haven't played well together. Jalen Brunson only had 19 points last night, but he had 9 assists and just 2 turnovers. He was setting the table. He was getting people involved. I know he shot only 36% from the field. I know he only shot 16% from the field. But when those two players were on the court, the Knicks offense was clicking at the highest level. When Brunson was on the court, despite the fact that he didn't put the ball in the basket at an elite level, they had 126.9 offensive rating. When Jalen Brunson was off the court last night, they had a 90.9 offensive rating. So that shows that even when Jalen Brunson is not being efficient and not putting the ball in the basket, this offense can still work and can still click at an extremely high level. So pretty pumped up about the way those two played. I mean, we got to talk about the two-man action that they worked in that fourth quarter when the Bulls had taken the lead and Towns hit those big-time shots and had those big-time offensive possessions and got the Knicks ultimately the win, it was coming off the hands of Jalen Brunson. How many times did we see them go to that two-man action, running that pick and roll, running that pick and pop, and Karl-Anthony Towns as a screener having to read what the defense was doing so he would know what to do. We've heard Mike Brown talk about it, saying Karl has to do a better job of reading what to do in those pick and pop scenarios. And in last night's game, how many times would we see Jalen take one or two dribbles off the screen, throw that two-handed bounce pass into the pocket in between the two Bulls defenders? Towns would catch it, and there would be no one in front of him. He'd have an open three. He could attack the deck. He could attack the rim. He could put it on the deck. He could finish with the left. He could finish with the right. Those two were showing you that they can work together, albeit it was against the Chicago Bulls. They're a tanking basketball team. They're not very good. But at this point, I'll take any sliver of evidence that suggests that when Towns and Brunson are on the floor together, that is when the Knicks are going to be at their best. And last night, they were. In the number of possessions that they played together, 39 possessions, 20.9 minutes that Brunson and Towns were on the court, they outscored the Chicago Bulls by 20 points. But most importantly in this game, I thought it was the defense from Jalen Brunson and the defense from Karl-Anthony Towns that had a major, major impact. They had a defensive rating. When Towns and Brunson were on the court last night, the Knicks had a defensive rating of 86.4. That would be the best defense of all time in the NBA. To put that into perspective, through the entire game, the Knicks had a defensive rating of 104.2. That is insane. The Knicks defense was better when Jalen Brunson was on the court. The Knicks defense was better when Karl-Anthony Towns was on the court. That's what you want to see. You want to see those two playing together and making each other better. I say it all the time. Winning in the NBA, it's a very clear formula. Your best players have to be your best players, and your best players have to complement the other best players on your team. And through 150 games together, there hasn't been that strong of a data pool that suggests that Towns makes Brunson better and Brunson makes Towns better. And is it all going to be well? And did we just sprinkle a little juice on? No, just because you did it against the Chicago Bulls doesn't mean it's going to continue to go in that direction. But I think it's a good step for the New York Knicks. I want to continue to see Jalen make an effort to get Karl-Anthony Towns involved. I want to see Towns continue to make an effort to get himself involved. Make yourself available to catch passes in the post. And when you get open shots, you got to knock them down. That's been one of the key, really, storylines for the Knicks this year, is that Towns hasn't been that efficient of a shooter. He was last night. He was in the comeback win over the Rockets. And for 2 games in a row, the Knicks were good when Brunson and Towns were on the floor together. If the Knicks are going to put a banner at the top of Madison Square Garden, those two have to be the best players, and they were last night. It was fun. Appreciate everybody for stopping by. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. If you want to see this team win a chip, hit the like button.